Hey, everybody. Good morning and welcome to An Open Door. This is Finding Truth Everywhere. We meet every Monday morning at 11:30 Eastern Standard Time to discuss a reading from A Course in Miracles and how we can use that in our everyday lives. And to start off, I was very bold, and the song that I've chosen to have played is actually a song that I wrote and performed. And it was written in 1993, I think, or yeah, I think 93. And it's called Holding On to the Light. And so I'll hand it over to Rona. And Rona, thank you so much.
You're welcome. And just for recording purposes, this is where the rubber meets the road. And just so you know, I've done it too. I get so nervous trying to remember which. We have 9 gatherings a week, people. Give us a break.
Now I know why
So
Lonnie was shaking her head.
it's so great. I love you all. I'm going to play this beautiful song. Get ready.
I'm searching through my heart and soul for that peace from the noise inside my head. Old conditioning and beliefs I've held wanna keep me feeling my bed, but shines on, burning through the dark. I'm working for faith to be the comfort to the pain I create. So subtly, it's all I've ever known. But through love I can be saved from the death in life to the life there can be through death. I've seen the self within, and I know peace lives with me. I'm changing. I know that love can win this war I rage within. So I'm moving on, holding on to that light I know burns in me. Yeah, that light shines on, burning through the dark.
I gotta say, we will be clipping that and putting it in an open door playlist. I don't know how to do that, but I bet you I know someone who does. Livy, that was beautiful.
Oh,
Be-
thank y'all so much. That's like presenting a baby and saying, please love my baby. Um, it just seemed appropriate for what we're going to be discussing today, which is lesson 153, in my defenselessness, my safety lies. And I'm just going to just read the highlighted parts that I had, and I'll go through this quickly so Andrew can give his feedback. Um, but I'm going to start on paragraph 2. The world gives rise but to defensiveness, for threat brings anger. Anger makes attacks seem reasonable, honestly provoked, and righteous in the name of self-defense. And at the bottom of the page, the footnote says, in other words, the world's attacks on us seem to be a threat. This threat inspires anger in us and makes our retaliative attacks seem like justified self-defense. This is how the world gives rise but to defensiveness. And then in paragraph 4, defenses are the costliest of all the prices which the ego would exact. In them lies madness in a form so grim that hope of sanity but seems to be an idle dream beyond the possible. The sense of threat the world encourages is so much deeper and so far beyond the frenzy and intensity of which you can conceive that you have no idea of all the devastation it has wrought. You are its slave. You know not what you do in fear of it. And then at the bottom, the footnote says, and Jesus said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. The above allusion implies that out of fear of the world's attack, we unknowingly end up crucifying God's Son, ourselves. And then paragraph 5, you do not realize what you have done to sabotage the holy peace of God by your defensiveness. For you behold the Son of God as but a victim to attack by fantasies, by dreams, and by illusions he has made, yet helpless in their presence, needed only of defense by still more fantasies and dreams, by which illusions of his safety comfort him. And then paragraph 9, we look past dreams today and recognize that we need no defense because we were created unassailable. And unassailable means too strong to be attacked, questioned, or defeated, without all thought or wish or dream in which attack has any meaning. Now we cannot fear, for we have left all fearful thoughts behind. And in defenselessness, we stand secure, serenely certain of our safety now, sure of salvation, sure we will fulfill our chosen purpose as our ministry extends its holy blessing through the world. And before I pick out the other ones, I'm going to go ahead and let Andrew share because I know he's going to need to leave. So I'm going to go ahead and let him jump in.
Thank you, Livy. Hello, everyone. Love to all of you. Great to see you all again. Yeah, this lesson I find quite challenging. It's so difficult to practice in belief, in honest belief. Well, it starts off saying in the paragraph 1 that this world offers no safety, and then it goes on to describe all the dangers or the perceived threats that there are, and it talks about encircling yourself in a defense and then another circle of defense and another circle until you are a prisoner. Now, what is it that we fear? What are we afraid of? Harm to the body or humiliation? But really, that's part of the illusion. The ego is the part of the mind that identifies solely with the body. So knowing the body is an illusion and the world is an illusion, the ego also is an illusion. But it's this dream that we made up is such a complex thing that we're lost in the complexity. The Course says this, the truth is simple, and it is. There's only one, there's God, and we're part of God. That's the truth, but we're lost in this complex world, which is all a dream. It calls these defenses and cycles, games. There's dangerous games that we play. And then it says, by practicing defenselessness, we change the games to joyful games. So this is one complex story that we're lost in. We're playing games. They can be dangerous games or they can be joyful games, depending on our state of mind, our where we are in our development of peace. There's another lesson. It says, if I defend myself, I am attacked. Now, that seems like we cause our own attack when we feel fear or defense. We need to defend ourselves. And I believe that if we can truly, honestly be defenseless and practice defenselessness and go about our business, we won't be attacked. But that's a hard step to swallow, a hard pill to swallow a lot of times. Another way to interpret this lesson is it could be interpreted as preparation for laying the body down and going on to, to eternal life in heaven, because we can't stay on earth and ever be fulfilled in our spiritual journey. This earth has to end, and part of our mission is to bring peace to the world so that everyone can realize their truth, realize their oneness with God. And that's the mission we're on. That's my take on this. Thank you, Livy. Thank you, everyone. Once
Thank
again,
you. Thank you, Andrew. I appreciate that. The reason that I love this lesson so much is because I just went around assuming I was wrong, and that everybody else knew everything. And I wore my defensiveness as literally armor, ready to defend at all cost. And I used it to prove my innocence. I felt like I had to have that to prove my innocence. And the fear of abandonment is what really ran a lot of that. And along with defensiveness came blame, and it never occurred to me that peace and safety, because I used all that to try to be safe in what I perceived as an unsafe world. And when I came upon this lesson and really meditated on it, and I've been doing that for a few months, and it just makes sense that in the defenselessness, as far as I can see, is where the truth lies, and I absolutely love, for you will not see the light until you offer it to all your brothers. As they take it from your hands, so will you recognize it as your own. And, in AA, we talk about we keep it by giving it away. And I think that's good for that. And then I just love at the end, paragraphs 18 and 19. Today, our theme is our defenselessness. We clothe ourselves in it rather than the armor that I used to put on every day. We clothe ourselves in defenselessness as we prepare to meet the day. We rise up strong in Christ and let our weakness disappear as we remember that his strength abides in us. We will remind ourselves that he remains beside us through the day and never leaves our weakness unsupported by his strength. We call upon his strength each time we feel the threat of our defenses undermine our certainty of purpose. We will pause a moment as he tells us, I am here. That's just very, very comforting to me. Our practicing will now begin to take the earnestness of love to help you keep your mind from wandering from its intent. And defenselessness is all you need to give him in return. You lay aside but what was never real to look on Christ and see his sinlessness, which is our sinlessness, And but yeah, it was just, to be able to feel the armor finally be coming down and to understand that I don't have to defend every single thing to myself or to anybody else. And so that's what this means for me. And back on paragraph 5, when it said, you do not realize what you have done to sabotage the holy peace of God by your defensiveness. I didn't know that there was an alternative to that. And because I was driven by the illusions and by the conditioned beliefs, you're not smart enough to do this. And so just all the negative thoughts that I would feel like, okay, I have to be. And a lot of the defensiveness was, I can't let anybody see me. I can't be seen, and I hide behind that armor. And today it feels good to be feeling that armor being released because I don't have to defend. And so I hope that's making sense. And I would love to hear others' thoughts on this. Hey, Rona, thank you so much for getting us started after Andrew.
Sure. I'd love to get us started. And then I got to take care of Kylie, so I'll be off camera for a few, but I'm here listening. Livy, you did a wonderful job, and thank you to Andrew as well. I will share that my experience with this lesson is that every time I read it, something else becomes clearer, because the first few times it was like, and I'm grateful that I don't beat myself up for that anymore, that I realize it's not about my intellect understanding any of this, right? And it keeps coming back around. And so I love the things you highlighted. I'm still learning what do I use as defenses? So you've prompted me to write that question down and think about that later. What do I use? Blame was one I used for a long time. And, blame is just a form of attack. So that's another place that I can be like, yeah, blame or judgment or any of those things. And the idea that we pass that the game is over along to one another. It mentions the game in detail in here. And that really struck me this time, because there really is a trust in knowing now that this is a game. And that I don't need to defend myself because it's really never happened. It's about perception and those kind of things, But the dream still seems awful real, people. Thank you very much. But it's when we talk about these things in gatherings like this, and I'm reminded of these questions, which are at the very top of written on my lesson. Who needs defending? Who is hurt? Who thinks they need to protect themselves? And so those are the questions, like in the moment, this lesson asks us to pause several times in here And now I know why I'm pausing, right? Is to remember the truth of what I am and not forget, but detach in with neutrality from the story that seems to be happening and remember that truth for a moment. And I don't have to guide what happens next, but I trust whatever happens next is more graceful and guided, right? And then this was the other thing that I wrote. I'm sure these things are from one of you all in here. I'm thinking it's Amy. But anyway, it says, I defend what I think can be taken from me. And anything that can be taken from me is not real because what I am can never be taken from me. The safety that I have from this benevolence, right, that exudes from the universe that I am, because there's nothing outside of me. Isn't it funny? It's such a game, right? And what I'm grateful for today is the willingness just a little more to believe that it's true. Not only to believe, but to know and trust in moments where I get all snippy because somebody won't do something I wanted them to do. And I take offense, and I start blaming and attacking in my head because I don't do it outwardly anymore. It's all going up here. Now I do sometimes. I mean, I gotta be honest. I'm still human, right? And I lose my mind sometimes and turn into Linda Blair. But not as often as I used to, and certainly it's contained within thought. And I know thoughts are just thoughts, and those thoughts can be looked at. I mean, what a better way to live. I don't understand everything about this by any means, and I don't expect to understand it completely anytime before I transition. But the breadcrumbs of clarity just make this more exciting. And I feel like, once again, this is all for you, Rona. It's all for you. Dream character being led out of the forest. So thanks for letting me share. I'm grateful to be here with you all today. And it's so good to see the Hunts today. Good to see you.
Thank you so much, Rona. I really always appreciate your clarity on stuff. Hey, Lonnie, good morning.
Good morning, family. How we been? This lesson has this golden thread that took me back to a discussion within the group. I can't tell you how long ago, but where we talked about fear as protection. And I did not understand that concept. So I've done a lot of sitting, a lot of asking and questioning in. And what I got this really strong visual of that, of this body that walks around through the existence, ready for anything that's coming, ready to fight, ready to hit back, ready to protect. And even what that does in the physical form in the sense of density. And so when I get to in my defenselessness, my safety lies. Yeah. Because when I'm no longer walking with fear as my protection. I am in defensive bliss, and there is no need for being ready to pounce. There's more that's coming, but I can't get to it, so I'm going to surrender the mic. Maybe I'll come back.
I hope you do. Thank you, Lonnie. Hey, Julie. And I just also, Lonnie, thank you for putting it in that way, that it's the fear. Yeah, I wrote using fear as protection. That's exactly right. Hey, Julie, sorry.
Oh, that's okay. No. Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. I really love this lesson. And everything you said, Livy, Andrew, Rana, and Lonnie, I can totally relate a lot, growing up. I was, us siblings were very protective of each other, even though we fought amongst each other, we were very protective. So we got real defensive. And, I like what Lonnie said. And Ronna put in the chat about, the attack, always ready to attack. And now through this lesson, I see that I am becoming less fearful, you know, and I just owe it to ACIM and Open Door. And it's wonderful to feel that lightness, when something happens, I used to go, okay, either how can I fix it or how dare they do that. And now it's like, okay, it's not my shit. I will pray on it and I will send my love and I love the pause. Oh gosh. And it's so fun because, I learned that in AA too about, pausing and I'm doing that much more. And then to have it repeated in these lessons is just like a double winner for me because sometimes slowly, sometimes, I need things to be repetitive. I love though, and I've talked about this, where it was at footnote 265 when Jesus said, Father, forgive them for they know not what they do. And I just love that because before I came into these rooms, and before I got sober, I was very politically active and I was very judgmental. And I was very on the attack. Well, how dare you're so hypocritical. And now, believe it or not, I'm reading less, watching less about the chaos, and I kind of laugh about it. And for me, that's a release because it's nothing like I can't do anything. All I can do is send my love. All I can do is send my love, and for they know not what they for they forgive them for they know not what they do. And that's how I look at it now. And that is so free, so free. And I find that with everything. So yes, yesterday I attended the Awakening with Cindy's sermon, and oh my God, I came away with that and with Livy reading it. And then I come to these, and I'm good. Can you just say it? My heart, what a way to start the day because your heart is just full of love after you leave these rooms, and you want to continue that through the day. And it's just, and that's what it says here in this lesson is that, just to continue being of love and being of joy. But like we all said, we are human. And so when I get that human mind going, I'm grateful that I can pause and come back to, okay, this is just spread your love, and what am I really afraid of? And, you know, like right now, I tell Livy this all the time. My mother passed away when she was 71, close to 71. I'll be 69 in a few weeks. So I'm thinking, am I going to make it to, I want to get past my mom's. And then I'm here in St. Louis with my grandkids and I've got that fear. Okay, I got all this, I got to spend all this time with them now because I don't know how long I've got. And then I'm like, oh, how ridiculous is that? Just enjoy the now. So I'm grateful that I can do that. Even though the brain wants to go there, it's like, just enjoy now because that's all I have is now. So anyway, I just want to end with that. So thank you. Love you. And Livy, you are awesome with this. Thank you. Love you.
Thank you so much, Julie. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for your support and your love. Love you back. Amy, hey, good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Livy. And what a beautiful voice you have. That is really lovely. Sometimes in my dreams, I can sing and I have this full-throated, absolutely pitch perfect voice. And the song that comes out is just born in the dream. And I sort of have this fundamental memory of being able to make beauty through my voice, and certainly can't do it in this experience. But gosh, people that can do that, what a gift it is. So I thank you for that. It's really lovely. And for this lesson too. This is a lesson for me that has the shape of a spiral in my understanding of it. And by that I mean it started out with my first reading of it and thinking intellectually this makes sense. And so that was my point of understanding. This makes sense. And then I start to experience the practice of this lesson, and the spiral goes out. And then the 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 repercussions of my practice takes that spiral a little wider and a little higher. And then my failure to practice this lesson takes it actually even wider and higher. So every time I fail with the lesson, I actually learn it in a new way. And so that's why I think it's important to remember that failure is really good. So every time you fail, you're just giving yourself another opportunity to re-understand the lesson. And so that for me is important. And I want to talk a little bit about fear because Lonnie reminded me um, how fear actually is attack. And I want to just tell a little story, and I won't take too long. But I came down from in the morning to a kitchen where my husband had done the dishes the night before, and he left this. We have a little container in the sink where we wash our dishes and then put them so we don't have to keep filling the sink up with water all the time. Anyway, he had left it overnight, and it was full of this cold, greasy, disgusting, dirty dishwater. And there was a plastic bag, a greasy plastic bag in it, and the sponge that we use to clean stuff, which is I was just grossed out. Um, and so I thought about it. I went and had my coffee, and I emptied it and did everything I wanted to do. And I thought about not particularly this lesson, but I thought, I'm going to ask him to just be mindful about not doing that. And so I thought, and this is a pattern that I have with my teacher, who is also my husband. How am I going to do this in a way that doesn't piss him off? Because he does not like to be criticized in any way. And I've been partnered with him for almost 30 years, and I have tried every way I can imagine to try to ask him, would you do this in this way, or whatever. Tried to be as creative as I can, and I fail a lot at it because he knows what I'm doing, and it just pisses him off. And so, of course, I get down there, and he's down there, and I think it's a good time, and I say, I have a request. I wonder if you would please, please, please just think about not doing this, because it is a little gross to get up in the morning and see this. And oh, he got mad. Of course, he got really mad. And he said, you don't need to try to explain it to me. I don't need you to explain it to you. Just ask me not to do it. And so, of course, all the anger that I had repressed because I was trying to follow this lesson, and I go, just don't do it, right? Just don't. And so that starts us off on this day of not talking to each other. And so, of course, we don't talk to each other the whole day. And I'm like, I walk into the room, and it's like, I don't say anything, but it's fuck you. And he walks into the room with me, and he's like, I'm going to ignore you. I don't see you there. I don't even see you. Kim, I got to call you back. Okay. Sorry. Anyway, so what I realized, I did a lot of thinking about. What I realized is I started my request to him from a place of fear, right? I was afraid that he would get mad. I had forgotten my sovereignty. Like if I had just, and I didn't need to say it with anger either, because that's forgetting sovereignty too. I could have just turned to him as an equal and said, hey, notice this is in the sink. I do it too. Please don't do it again. And feel free to remind me if I do, right? End of story. So it's these little things. That's really kind of what I want to say by example. It's these little teeny things, and fear is another form of attack. It's self-attack in a way, because you're saying, I'm afraid that I am not the divine being that I know that I am. This is almost, we have as divine beings, created this world with all its complexity in this almost incomprehensibly intelligent way, so that we learn these lessons that I am a divine being inside and out. We cannot help but fail at them. And we need the failure in order to learn it from every single possible angle. And I'm realizing this even as I'm saying it. And that is why forgiveness is our function here. Because this is a university in which we get a graduate degree in our divinity and in the art and power of forgiveness. And so I just wanted to put that out there in this lesson. And I love this lesson. I love it. And I think about Richard and I think about my father every time this lesson, because my father as an Air Force officer was, the best defense is a good offense. And I've said this before in this group. That's what I grew up with. And so this is a complete 180 degree from that way of being. And so I love us. I thank us for being here. And yeah, Marta and your husband, it's really good to see you both here. And I will give the floor. I am complete. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that example, Amy. I know all of us can relate to that for sure. Thank you. And thank you for that. Hey, Lonnie.
I offer that failure too. The concept of failure is also a kind of attack. As I listen, I have this secret love affair going on with somebody who doesn't know it's happening, and that's Caesar Milan. And he's the dog whisperer. And one of the things he says is when people are apologizing for their dog's bad behavior, he says, don't apologize. Allow them to be exactly as they are so they can be corrected. And so that idea of failure doesn't exist in this being, because I can't fuck this up. Every single thing is a invitation to choose differently. And so when you told your story, Amy, it was almost as though you were giving us an opportunity to hear how you create, hear how you invite that experience of failure by talking about how I failed at this so many times already, as opposed to you've had these opportunity after opportunity to try something different, to not see yourself as failing. And the minute that you stepped out of that and recognized, you know what, I could just do it this way, and boom, you were out of it. So I offer that you never did fail, that you kept stepping up to opportunity after opportunity. And there is no failure when we show up and we learn what we need to learn from it. So I spoke on it because every time you said it, Amy, I hear in frequency and vibration, I kept hearing bang, bang. So I was like, oh, what is that? Oh, there was an invitation there for this, we create. If all is God and there's nothing outside of ourselves, then literally everything we're experiencing is what we're creating in this experience here. And so maybe that was a creation to help move you to where you needed to move to, and recognizing I can just say directly to him. I don't have to worry about it going a certain way. I hope that makes sense.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Thank you so much, Lonnie. Hey, John.
Hi, Livy. Hi, Livy. Hi, everybody. Happy Monday. This is great. Rubber meets the road. I'd like to just comment before I forget about that failure thing, because for me too, it's failure. It's success is a polarity, but failure feedback is an invitation to look at, hey, I can make a different correction here. There's nothing happened. Actually, I have grown from this because I learned what didn't work. So if I just learn to change that failure into feedback. There's no such thing as failure, only feedback. And whether I'm going to the moon or Hawaii or Kingdom Come, it doesn't matter. I'm still on a path somewhere. So basically, I love that discussion. The thing I wanted to bring to mind, Livy, was what your presentation about assuming that I was wrong, and this, that hit me first, because this is the same story. I'm assuming that there's a right and a wrong. It's a success and a failure, and and walking around with that program. And it started early for us, for me anyway, Livy, and I'm sure for you too. But this is the capstone of the pyramid of deductive reasoning that's running our lives. So just when you assume that I was wrong, when I assume, or when I'm alerted to the fact that I'm in fear, by the tension or by whatever's going on, hey, it's an invitation for me to what Rona was saying, take a look at these thoughts, because we can track them. This is the breadcrumb that goes back to some story or other, and it's the capstone of that pyramid of logical deductive reasoning that's been driving the whole bus here for so long. So that was really good for me when you said that. And I think the beautiful part of it is, because it's not as though I didn't hear this before, but coming from your voice, coming when you speak it lands differently, and it lands differently for everybody. So that's the joy of coming to a group like this, because we hear all these different viewpoints. And again, we talk about those games, like how can we turn them into games of joy? Those games of despair and destruction that we play, that, they can be turned around too. So I find that really, and one thing I did learn was this. I was with some kids, my family kids from a couple of generations down the pike this weekend, and one of them, wanted another sausage, and everybody thought they were finished. And I went up and I found one, and just to play with him, I found one, and we played a little game. It was so exciting for him when he found another sausage, that I found it for him. It got turned into a game, and I realized at that point, how much. I enjoyed that interaction. It only lasted, but for a few minutes. But that sets the tone of the day, and so that was a really good thing that happened. Just the tone, and I like to. Something came to me what Amy was talking about, because that's one of the big lessons I've learned. I'm still in process of learning, and that's to say. Not to do stuff, or don't do this. I have a request not to do this or not to do that. So anytime and linguistically, negation doesn't exist in experience, but only in language. I can't not do anything. I can't don't do anything. So I gotta say what I do want. And I can say I would prefer I would prefer if this would happen or that would happen. And even there's a land beyond preferences too, but it just is a first step. Oh my God, that make a huge difference, because at least you're putting out what you want, not what you don't want, and try that for a while. And I'll give you a quick example. I heard this, somebody saying this, just a linguistic example of greeting a person. Oh, say a family member you haven't seen you. I missed you. I miss you. Well, that lands, it lands in a certain place. Versus, and I tried this on this week, I'm so happy to see you. That lands totally different. I'm so happy to see you. Rather than say I miss you, and then we'll go for stories about why I didn't see you, blah 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 blah. It's a very subtle little attack in a way, and so. I'm so happy to see you as a happy game, a joyful game. And so thanks, Livy, and thanks for everybody for helping me in my life. I love you all.
We love you too, John. Wow. So much. Thank you for that. And I was thinking about, I don't know why this came up, but I've heard that if you're going to be attacked by a bear, to try to be bigger, than the bear. And it just made me think about what fun that would be if I felt fear coming up, to just get real big, or start dancing or just do something that would just like knock it off its core, you know. And I heard that there was a house that had really not nice ghosts in it, apparently. And the person that lived there wanted to have the ghost, you know, exorcised or whatever. And he was told to bring children into the home. So he got a whole bunch of, I think he went to a teacher and he got like a classroom of 5 and 6-year-olds and gave them a bunch of games. And they all started playing, and the darkness can't stay in joy. And their joy just filled the house, and the spirits left. And I love that. I love that aspect too, you know. And so anybody else want to jump in and share something with us? Yes, sir, Regis. Thank you. Thank you.
I might as well, since there's time on the clock.
Thank you, sir. I always love hearing you.
I was thinking I was going to get out of this, and then I looked at the clock. I'm like, wow, we still got time, and we said a lot. That's beautiful. We are not a victim of time. I guess what's coming to me is about defenses is not even always coming from fear. It's really coming from lack, and lack being in who we are, from a deficit of who I am as a person. I'm not enough. I'm not worthy. And what you're doing and how you're doing it is sometimes a threat to my sense of worthiness. So many times we're being defensive and we're trying to hide it under concern. And as John said, we're not asking for what we want. And it blows up because we're gaslighting, really. We're not being true. You know, it's like if me and Lonnie is together, and Lonnie already knows she got a taste for shrimp. Don't ask me, Regis, what do you want to eat? When you already know you want shrimp. Because then when I say I want tacos, that conversation is going to go somewhere crazy. Because Lonnie didn't say what she wanted. She already knew she wanted shrimp. So, and why don't Lonnie say what she wants? Because I'm not worthy of somebody catering to me. I'm not worthy of asking for what I want and getting it. A lady, I shared with a lady, and I think it helped her. It seems to open it up. She just thought she was such a victim of her husband. And it was a show that they had enjoyed watching together, and she really enjoyed it, and she always wanted them to watch this TV show together. And so the way the evening was unfolding was that it looks like the show was about to come on in a certain amount of minutes or time, and looks like he was about to take a shower or getting ready to take his shower and freshen up, which she knew if he took his shower, then he wouldn't be available to watch the show. So what she did was start helicoptering him about taking his shower. She didn't say nothing about the show. When are you taking your shower? Are you taking your shower? So what does it feels like to him? It feels like I'm a grown man and you're trying to tell me when to take my shower? Nothing about the TV show. So as John said, all she had to say was, honey, our show is coming on at 8:30. Are we going to watch it together? I would love for us to watch it together. And he knows what to do to make that happen. He got a brain. He's grown. He knows what to do to make that happen. Whether he need to take his shower fast or not take it at all or wait till afterward, he knows what else to do. And so why do we do that? And that's a form of defense. And we go through life, especially in relationships, because I love being in relationships because they really are great teachers. We go to our life framing stuff to protect ourselves. And it's a lie. It's a gaslight. We're not asking for what we want. We're not saying what we want. And that's a big way that we just wake up and go into life every day with this whole ruse of protection. And we dress it up like I'm the most concerned person on the planet. You know, I'm the most thoughtful person on the planet. I'm just thoughtful. I don't know why everything always blow up in my face. So anyway, I hope you get it. I'm going to shut up right there. Thank you.
Oh, if you feel moved, I would love to hear from the Hunts. I love seeing y'all laugh and pointing fingers at each other. If you feel moved to say anything, we would love to hear you. If not, that's fine too. Just really glad you're here.
Oh goodness. We are both moved and laughing and scratching, and it's great to be here. The story about that story about the shower versus the watching something together, is that happens so often with us. All these things kind of hit home pretty much. About John's thing about at reunions or whatever, instead of I've missed you so much, which is the past, versus I'm so happy to see you. It's just so great to be able to reframe that in another way. And then just it's interesting. I don't know how many other people there have a spouse or a partner who also do ACIM and have that way to frame things, but it makes it really, really doubly interesting because, you can sort of say, well, shouldn't you be doing, being at peace right now instead of being that way? Or why you've kind of left the ACIM universe and have gone into ego land. And it's, and one other thing, our son often will frame things in terms of, is there a world in which blah, 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 as a way to sort of soften a preference or expectation, or maybe how a judgment, or how somebody could do something differently. And so I've tried using that, and that can backfire too. Is there a world in which you could see this differently or do this differently?
Yeah, I always feel like everything needs to be prescribed a certain way, and is there a world in which is really classic David. I didn't even think of it as coming from Will originally.
Mm-hmm.
But and this weaponizing of ACIM, that's just like knowing the lingo, and we both know that the other one knows the lingo, and then using that to, I don't know, drive a point home, and instead of just, I don't know, being. I don't. It is fascinating to have a relationship to make it all really clear. But thank you for this. Thank you for this group and inviting us in and welcoming us. I don't really understand how an open door got conceived and how it's different from other groups, but we thought we'd come and find out. So.
Well, really glad that you did, and really glad you're here. Hope to see you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody else want to give any last words before we stop the meeting?
Did
right.
anyone read from paragraph 14? No, not that. I want to read that into the group. Well, actually, a few sentences before, but I think this is great. We pause but for a moment more to play our final happy game upon this earth. Like that's where we're at now that we kind of know about this stuff, you know? And then we go to our rightful place where truth abides and games are meaningless. And that's what you guys remind me all the time. You know, I bring you a story and you listen, and then we get back to that point where, oh, yeah, it's only got the meaning that I've put on it, right? And that's usually diluted. So is the story ended. Let this day bring the last chapter closer to the world, that everyone may learn the tale he reads of terrifying destiny, defeat of all his hopes, his pitiful defense against a vengeance he cannot escape, was but his own deluded fantasy. God's ministers have come to waken him from the dark dreams this story has evoked in his confused, bewildered memory of this distorted tale. That's what you guys are. You just showed up to show me the way out, you know? God's son, all of us, can smile at last on learning that it is not true. The distorted tale is not true. Thank you.
Thank you so much for reading that and for bringing that in. That was perfect. That was absolutely a perfect way to end this gather. Oh, Amy, hey, bring it on, friend.
Hey, beautiful. You know, this is where I think I come back full circle to just being your authentic self. You know, just be your authentic self. And if you know your authentic self as a child of God, eternal, inviolate, unlimited, absolute love, from love, with love, in love, being love. If you know that, then be your authentic self. And I want to just tell the Hunts that the way that this got started was we were in awakening together with the Bill Free and Lisa and all those folks, and they sort of took the awakening together into one direction, which was to to have speakers and all of that, which was fine. But some of us also wanted to have a place where we could really meet and talk and have a community of people, of equal teachers, where we could do the readings together, where we could have discussions together and really be supportive together as a community. And so Cyndi was willing to step up to the plate to make that happen. And that's really how we all got started. And that's why I keep coming back, is because this is a place that we can come. We're all teachers of God. We all have something good to bring. We go outside and read books and watch YouTube videos and we bring in other teachers from the outside, but we all share together in this space. And it's all free. That's the other thing. Cyndi was really adamant about that. We don't charge people for being here because some people, that just creates a hierarchy, and the love is free. So it's all by donation, and there's no push to donate anything. There are very few requests ever. It's totally volunteer. And that's what we do. And we are our authentic selves here. We're very truthful. We're very loving. We're very supportive of each other. And it's all open here. And that's why I keep coming back.
Amy, Awakening Together or Center for Awakening?
Center for Awakening. I'm sorry. Center for Awakening. Yep.
Yeah.
Thanks for that explanation.
Yeah. Hey, John, you want to have the last word?
Yeah, well, these last words are getting spread around. let me just say this, and it really speaks to what Rona was saying, because it's in the pause that we connect these things. And in the story you just heard from Amy, it's we have to pause and think about what she says, so it really does come back to the pause and the stories, Regis' stories and the Hunt stories, that they're what we have to pause, because that's where the dots get connected for us, in the pause. And then we can, oh my goodness, well. So the beauty is it's just a question of undoing stuff, and undoing those assumptions, when we hear stories like what we heard today. So I don't know if that's the last word, but for me, it's just thank you for the pause. And with that, let me pause.
And Rona, thank you for always reminding us about the pause. I really appreciate that. And with that, we'll close up the meeting. The guides will be listening to Paul Selig and the guides this afternoon at 3. Hope you all can join. And so thank you again so much for this.